Thank you, Katerina. Now I welcome Sheila.
Evening. I'm a physician, which has some relevance to my story. More importantly, however, I have been mother to Ross Harding, a cheery, cheeky, bright boy who lived with significant and often painful disability until his death at age 10. It's also important to note that I have been accused of crying at supermarket openings. That is to say, I would not typically choose to speak publicly about emotionally laden topics. It is uncomfortable to put my professional persona at risk in public. Nevertheless, here we go. I graduated from medical school in 1981. At that time, while we were vociferously debating abortion, I said that if we accepted abortion on demand, we would, before we retired, be killing patients. My classmates teased that I was being a drama queen and dismissed my concerns. I wish I had been wrong. I joined the faculty in the College of Medicine at the University of Saskatchewan in Saskatoon in 1988. My work has been a blend of direct patient care, clinical laboratory oversight, teaching, research, and administration. Fast forward to late 1993. I'll never forget driving home on College Drive, listening to CBC Radio News, and hearing that a young girl named Tracy Latimer had been killed by her father in a so-called mercy killing or compassionate homicide. My heart sank, and I had a foreboding sense that this one event would be a turning point in the euthanasia debate in Canada. I wish I had been wrong. For those who never knew or have forgotten, Tracy Latimer was a 12-year-old girl who lived with severe cerebral palsy, unable to speak or walk. She was raised on a farm near Wilkie, Saskatchewan, with her parents and 2 siblings. When she was born, it had been predicted that she wouldn't live to the age of 12, but she did. Then, on October 24th, 1993, anniversary pending, while her mother and siblings attended church, her father carried her out to his truck and filled it with carbon monoxide. After she had died, he carried her back to her bed so that her mother would find her there after returning from church and assume the death was natural. The carbon monoxide poisoning was identified on post-mortem examination, and the truth came out. Tracy's father was found guilty of second-degree murder and sentenced to 10 years in prison. Now out of jail for more than a decade, he has yet to express any remorse. Our son Ross was 7 years old at the time of Tracy's death. We tried hard to shield him from Tracy's story, but it proved impossible. Saskatchewan media was saturated with it, and everyone had an opinion. Most disquieting was the repeated assertion that Tracy's father had acted out of love and compassion for his daughter. But what made us realize that Ross had been paying close attention all along was when at breakfast one day he said, "You know what? The next time I get sick, you don't have to kill me, okay? I can take it." My heart leapt into my throat and I felt gut punched. I had no words. Ross's dad, Terry, jumped in quickly to reassure him that we would always protect him and that we would never consider killing him for any reason. We affirmed that our love and compassion would always be directed toward helping him live his best life, no matter what. We refuted the idea that Tracy's father had acted out of love and compassion. Rather, Tracy died the day the love ran out. Ross accepted our reassurance, and we didn't have to revisit that particular conversation. He would occasionally say without anxiety things like, "I'm going to like living in heaven because my joints won't hurt, but not yet." And he would later articulate his own conviction that it was a good thing that he existed, saying, "God knew the world needed someone like me." As more details about Tracy emerged, Ross would often compare and contrast. What did they have in common? What was different? He concluded that his ability to speak for himself was the most important difference. He'd say, "I can tell people what I think and feel and want." With Tracy, they had to guess. I was gripped by that reality. Ross could articulate his anxiety that we might ever consider killing him and receive clear reassurance about his safety. What of other disabled children who understood well enough what had happened to Tracy, but couldn't express their own thoughts or feelings? I thought to myself, if this child in this household can be worried about this, then what child anywhere can feel safe? And so, despite my personal discomfort with the idea, I knew that I had to engage in the battle more publicly. Gradually, with God's fist in my back, I found my voice and my pen, trembling and tears notwithstanding. I spoke up at every opportunity, at work, at church, at women's retreats, at pro-life conferences. I wrote letters and articles. I tried to oppose my profession's reckless sprint away from traditional Hippocratic medicine toward the introduction of euthanasia and assisted suicide as therapeutic medical services. I tried to persuade my faith community that the threat was real and needed active resistance. I tried unsuccessfully to institute policies in the MD program that would protect medical students from any expectation of participation in MAID. I worked with many others in Saskatchewan and beyond to advocate for provincial legal conscience protections for all healthcare professionals, also unsuccessfully, at least thus far, in Saskatchewan. I know that Mother Teresa liked to insist that we are not required to be successful, but rather we are called to be faithful. Yet it's a tremendous cause of sorrow when not being successful in preventing euthanasia means the premature deaths of so many. I grieve the loss of the profession as I once knew it, and at the same time I know the true life-affirming medicine. I know what it's meant to be, and that this doesn't change. When I made the difficult decision to close my clinical practice, I was able to increase my contribution to clinical laboratory work and to refer my patients on to other colleagues. However, this was a substantial loss for me, personally, and I think for my patients too. Despite my grief, I take solace in the reality that I am not a lone soldier in this. I'm in very good company. The next generation of physicians is stepping up in powerful ways to witness to and work for life-affirming medicine. I'm encouraged that people with disabilities and those who love them are finding their voices and taking action to protect this most vulnerable group of Canadians from our predatory euthanasia regime. It is my fond hope that children like our son Ross will be able to grow up in a Canada that affirms their value, asserts that it is good that they exist, and treasures them for exactly who they are, each a unique and irreplaceable instance of the image of God. Thank you.